From the scientific standpoint, we're going to look at what is an argument and what it is not. When we deal with the word argument, it is a series of statements typically used to persuade someone of something or to present reasons for accepting a conclusion. Definition from Wikipedia. It's a pretty good definition. So what we're looking at is we're looking about statements that are either going to persuade or present reasons for accepting a conclusion, which is kind of a way of saying persuade. An argument is not heated discourse. Normally when people argue, we think of it being heated discourse, but that's really not what we're looking at when we are dealing with an argument as far as science goes. The key concept here is to make sure you remove the emotion from the discourse. As soon as you get emotionally charged in a discourse, you're not listening, you're not going to pick up anything, you're not going to be able to dialogue properly, and people are going to stop listening to what you got to say. Take the emotion out of it, be reasonable, thoughtful, and that's what we've got as far as an argument goes. How do you build an argument? First thing, you have to know what your claim is. What are you trying to convey? What's the meaning behind what you've got? Where's your message at? What do you have that can support that claim? So what sort of information do you have that can support your claim? A lot of times when people argue, they don't have any support for it. They just believe that's the way it is. They get emotionally charged in it. So, we've got to look at what are your reasons for supporting it? What evidence supports the reasons? So you've got an idea, you know what you want. Where on the bottom line does it come down and say that we've got evidence that this supports all of these things? Big question comes down, how do you respond to objections and alternate views? In today's society, normally we respond to objections and alternate views by calling people names and looking at them and saying, hey, that doesn't have any value. But when you do that, what you're doing is you are arguing, but you are not presenting an argument that you might be able to come up and have somebody understand. What principles make your reasons relevant to your claim? When you deal with reasons and alternate views and everything, they have to be relevant to your claim. You can do a lot of arguing, a lot of talking about things, and if things are not relevant to what you're saying, then people are not going to buy into your argument. So when we're developing an argument, we have to look at it and say, which way can we develop this? How do we keep the emotion out? What sort of information, knowledge do we have that supports what we've got? How do we deal with objections to what we've got? And what makes everything relevant? And that's really building an argument. Now, if we think about it, you can change claim to hypothesis. You can talk about knowledge instead of reasons. And what literature do you have that supports the knowledge that you've got? And by doing that, you build a hypothesis, you build an argument. The concept is to build a rather ironclad argument where people can look at it and understand what you're trying to say and figure out how you're trying to say it, and then come up and understand how everything is relevant. How do you respond to objections and alternate views? Question we ask is, so what? If you're looking at your argument from the other perspective, do people say, so what? What's that got to do with anything? And that comes down to how we deal with this. So when you're building your argument, you want to make it solid. You want to take the emotion out of it. You want to have something that you can actually deal with.